What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz here once again with another episode of The Legal Submission. Yet again, are talking about a new boxing lawsuit. This time, this one was filed in federal court in New York, and it's by Don King Promotions, and it's against the World Boxing Association. Now, this relates to the defense of the WBA Heavyweight Championship by Mahmoud Charr, who is actually technically the champion in recess. The WBA also has other designations for champions. Notably, Anthony Joshua is the WBA Heavyweight Super Champion. From what I gather, the champion in recess is an individual that has the right of first refusal when it comes to fighting for the title. And so Charr won the WBA World Heavyweight Championship on November 25th, 2017. The rules of the WBA state that he was to defend the title within 180 days from the date the title was obtained. But the lawsuit states that he did not comply, due in part to his inability to obtain a travel visa. Now, the lawsuit states that Charr was scheduled to defend the title in June 2018 against Frez Oquendo, but a positive drug test caused the bout to be canceled and Oquendo and the fighter to be suspended. So there is another attempt to schedule a fight between Don King's promoted Trevor Bryan, who is also a plaintiff in this lawsuit, and Charr, and so those talks were in the hopper as far as a fight actually occurring. But the problem is, according to King's lawsuit, is that Charr started to engage in communications with a different promoter, which impacted the Charr-Bryan negotiations. Now, Don King Promotions, remember this is their lawsuit, said that Charr turned down a fight with Bryan despite a guaranteed minimum payday of $1 million. Purse bid didn't take place, which Don King won. A purse bid did take place for the Charr-Bryan fight, which King won, but due to the pandemic, yet again, the pandemic causing a halt to these boxing fights, but due to the pandemic, the fight that was scheduled for May 2020 did not occur. Now, one of the things about this lawsuit, going into the allegations filed by Don King Promotions and Trevor Bryan, was that Charr allegedly did not comply with the WBA rules with respect to obtaining the correct travel visa to allow him to fight in the United States. It's most likely that Charr was going to have to fight in the United States. He's a German citizen. Several of his last fights, when he was active, had been in Germany. So he had also tested positive for a banned substance, as I previously indicated, and so Charr had been suspended, and his bout with Bryan was canceled. And so in 2017, he still engaged in talks with other promoters about fighting, even despite being inactive and also failing this drug test, which was administered by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. So the Oquendo fight was called off, and the WBA ordered a negotiation period between Charr and Bryan, who was and is promoted by Don King Promotions. Now, during this time period, efforts were being made to secure the bout. Charr still talked to another promoter, as I stated, and this hurt the negotiations. He did sign an exclusive promotional rights agreement with Epic Sports and Don King Promotions, but refused to sign multiple bout agreements for the Bryan fight despite his minimum purse bid being $1 million. So this was this figure, $1 million, is pretty huge, and I think that in the lawsuit this is highlighted by Don King Promotions, noting that he was going to be paid, but it actually came down to obtaining a visa. And what happened in this part of the lawsuit was that Don King Promotions was willing to provide Charr with the necessary visa to travel to fight his guy Trevor Bryan. Charr indicated that they already had obtained a visa to travel and fight Bryan, so there was no need for Don King Promotions to go through the process already. The issue here was that Charr obtained the wrong type of visa. So a P1 visa with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and its immigration arm allows for an individual to travel to the United States and compete in an athletic event. That's what a P1 visa is. It's very specific, and it allows travel, short-term travel for the individual. The issue was that Charr had obtained a visitor visa, a B1, B2 visa, and that does not permit employment or work in the United States. So Charr could not travel because of a snafu with the visa. Of course, you could make the allegations that maybe perhaps Charr did this on purpose. Why would you file for a B1, B2 visa? Why would you do that if you knew that Don King Promotions was going to do that for you, file the correct one for a visa for you? It would seem as though that there was a miscommunication or just a grievous error in filing the correct immigration papers. So this basically halted the fight between Charr and Bryan because of this immigration visa issue. The crux of the lawsuit now becomes Don King Promotions and his fighter Trevor Bryan attempting to enforce a rule promulgated by the WBA, which would strip the champion in recess title from Charr. Charr has been in Germany this whole time, and in fact, he fought in this past May, and so it seemed to me that Charr is willing to stay in Germany as a WBA champion, but Don King Promotions, obviously with its own interests in helping its own fighter Trevor Bryan, wants him to do the fight in the United States on Bryan's turf and go through the fight and perhaps wrest the champion in recess moniker from Charr. The problem for King is that the WBA had no other issues with Charr, and the fact that he filed a faulty immigration the immigration papers were incorrect. The purpose of the lawsuit is to obtain a court declaration saying that Charr's prolonged inactivity, inability to obtain a travel visa, and his actions in participating in a bout against someone other than Bryan, the WBA must remove Charr's status as the champion in recess. So that's basically it. They want to have Charr stripped of his title, and perhaps it would assist their promoted guy in obtaining that particular moniker, champion in recess. Now, one of the other things that the lawsuit does is to halt any other movement by Charr as far as perhaps defending the title, the champion in recess title in Germany. So what are the possible endings to this lawsuit? Obviously, the purpose for the lawsuit was for Don King to obtain a court declaration stating that Charr should be stripped of the champion in recess moniker. The interesting issue here is that he's not named in the lawsuit. It's just the WBA, and obviously the lawsuit is for equitable relief, which means that it's not just for money damages. It's actually requesting the court to make a declaration stating that the WBA has to enforce its particular rules, and that's what it's doing here. Now, we might see that the lawsuit gets amended to add Charr. There probably are issues with serving him. He's in Germany at this point. And so the issues related to what type of jurisdiction they might have over this individual might be the murky issue, and that's why he's not named here currently. Now, this could be always amended, and we could see this being a much more prolonged litigation if there are changes to the existing lawsuit. Now, does Don King have a viable claim against the WBA? I would think on the face of the lawsuit, yes. And yet, still, we haven't seen an answer from the WBA, and obviously we would suggest that in litigation, there's always a possibility of moving to dismiss the lawsuit for various number of reasons, and before answering the allegations in the lawsuit. So we'll probably see that from the WBA. The factual issues are quite interesting as far as why Charr filed the wrong immigration papers. Certainly, he had, at least at his disposal, individuals that could obtain the correct versions of the immigration papers. I would think that he would not be doing this alone, or doing this with at least somebody with some knowledge of the immigration laws in the United States. The one thing here is that perhaps that he didn't want to travel to the United States and be promoted by Don King, or have Don King, the winner of the purse bid for the fight, have to work with him for this particular title defense, or champion in recess title defense. We will see what becomes of this lawsuit. It's interesting to note that the background behind this could be related to Don King and his partnerships, or his past relationships with the WBA, and also how he promotes his fighters. We can see this going a certain amount of time as far as litigating the case. I doubt that we see this thing going past this year. Obviously, you want all of your fighters to remain busy, and doing a lawsuit which would protract the sitting time for your fighters would not be beneficial to Don King, wouldn't be beneficial for Charr or his management group. So we will see what the outcome will be. Once again, it's Jason Cruz with the Legal Submission. Thank you very much. Have a great day.